everyone! In this video, we will review how to add dynamic food and beverage minimums to locations to help your teams ensure pricing consistency across events, simplify your workflow, and customize spending for various scenarios at your venue. We will cover how to create F&B minimums in settings and how to use them within events and documents. F&B minimums are customizable dynamic amounts that can be set up based on location, event style, room, time, and day of the week. This pricing customization recognizes that a minimum for a Friday night on the patio will significantly differ from a Monday afternoon in the dining room. Creating F&B minimums within Tripleseat will eliminate the need to manually calculate and input a minimum for every event. You have the ability to select which menu item categories should apply to the F&B minimum, which we will cover later in the video. To set up dynamic F&B minimums, I need to have the appropriate settings access. Heading into my settings page, I will click on Advanced Location Settings and then go to the F&B Minimum tab. I first need to select a location from the dropdown. Next, I will choose an event style. If I select on-premise or large party reservation, I will be prompted to select a specific room. Finally, I will select a rate type. I can choose from hourly or flat. I can only use one rate type per event style or room. For pickup and drop-off catering, only a flat rate is permitted. I will set the minimum for my patio area when renting it out for on-premise events. Once I have selected my rate type, a minimum grid will appear and I can begin adding amounts for each day of the week. I will click Add to create a new F&B minimum for Sunday. I will need to provide a start time and end time, as well as the desired minimum. I will create a minimum for my weekend brunch hours, so I'll put in my time frame and type the minimum into the text box. While I can have multiple minimums within a day, minimums are not able to overlap. So when I go to add another minimum and click on the time frame, I will see that I am unable to choose any time between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. I will create another minimum spend for Sunday night. I can also copy minimums from another day. Since I also have brunch hours on Saturdays, I will copy my minimums from Sunday to Saturday. To do that, I will navigate to Saturday, click Copy From, and select Sunday. I can see Sunday's minimums have been copied from Sunday to Saturday. My minimums for Saturday night is going to be more than Sunday, so I will change the amount. If I need to delete any minimums, I can select the red trash can. When done, I want to make sure to save before doing anything else. Once I press Save Changes, I can continue creating my minimums for other rooms or event styles. Once saved, these new dynamic F&B minimums will apply to newly created events only. No changes will be made to existing events. Now that minimums have been set up, when an event is created and there is an F&B minimum for that location, event style, and room, it will appear on the event details page under Financials. Since I now have an F&B minimum for on-premise events on Sunday brunch hours in the patio at Lakeview Grill, I will see my minimum under Event Financials, along with a calculated label. This appears to show that the minimum was auto-calculated. This amount can be manually adjusted if needed. When I adjust the minimum, a label will appear indicating that the amount has been edited. If I decide to adjust back to the original F&B minimum, I can click the trash can to revert back. Once the event is saved, I can click on the Calculated button to open a read-only pop-up of the F&B minimum tab in Advanced Location Settings. This is a great tool to use if I'm working on this event and my contact decides they need to change event details that may impact the minimum. For example, if my contact was booked in the patio and later decides they prefer the lounge, I can simply click on this label rather than navigate back to settings to find out what the new minimum will be. If I make this change and F&B minimums are configured for this space, the minimums will be updated. If there is no minimum for this new space, the value remains unchanged. If a minimum has been manually entered, then that value will remain, regardless if any new event details would apply to a configured minimum in advanced location settings. It is important to note that if changes are made to minimums before documents are created, the minimum will automatically update and reflect those changes. Once documents have been created, the F&B minimum is locked on the event details page. Any adjustments need to be made within the billing widget of the document. To see how minimums work within documents, I will create documents for this event. I will head to the Docs tab and click to add a document. Clicking into the document template, I will first add some line items to this event so that I can have some charges. Now, when I scroll down to the billing widget, I will see the F&B minimum along with the calculated label. I can see that $1,000 has automatically been generated, and I can identify $650 has been met, and the guest has $350 to go in order to meet the minimum. As a reminder, to change which menu item category should apply to the minimum on an event, I will click the ellipses to expand the F&B minimum line and select the categories. The category selected will count towards meeting this minimum. If I leave Exclude from all totals checked off here, any unmet amount, so the $350 in my example, will be left out of the grand total and the estimated amount due. If I uncheck Exclude from all totals, any unmet amount will roll into the grand total automatically, and I can apply any taxes or fees on top of that unmet minimum as needed here. Rolling the unmet minimum into all totals is helpful, as I won't need to go back and charge the guest at the end of the event if they haven't met their minimum. To make changes for all newly created events, I need to edit the template in Settings, Documents, Contract and Event Order template. Now let's go ahead and see how this looks for the guest. I will click Update on my document, and then click on a layout that has a billing widget, such as the contract. Clicking on the contract, I can see here that it is clearly laid out for my guest that the F&B minimum is $1,000, this is what they've met, and this is what they have to go to meet the minimum. My documents are set up for the F&B minimum calculator to automatically appear when added to an event. This is something that was set up in Settings. If you would like the F&B minimum calculator to default on documents, please reach out to our support team. If I need to make a note in any documents, I can also include my minimums as a merge field for easier convenience, as well as in any discussions with my guest. I am also able to report on my minimums by customizing the event details report. In the Financials tab, I can choose a range for my F&B minimums if I need to filter by a certain dollar amount. I can also sort my report by F&B minimum amount and include several different columns related to my F&B minimum in my reports within the Financial Columns group. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions about adding and managing minimums, please reach out to our support team, support@tripleseat.com, or by clicking on the Help Questions button at the top right corner of any screen in Tripleseat.